Okay, doing chapter 2 of St. Matthew today, uh, King James Version. I am using the Blue Letter Bible for the video, and we will just get into this. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. Okay, so this is verse 13, and uh yeah, and then we're gonna have a little discussion after from verse 13 to 23. Um, And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child. I have to emphasize that word. He took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Okay, so here's the discussion. Within that time period, he was only 2 years old. Okay, so he was around 2 years old or younger when they moved to Egypt. Okay. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, In Ramah, in Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the young child's life. And he arose and took the young child and his mother and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that I can't really say this name, Archelaus, Art, I'm not very good at Greek. Archelaus, whatever, Archimedes. I know we got to get these things right, but I'm not good. Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod. He was afraid to go he was afraid to go thither. Notwithstanding, being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee, and he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. Okay, so that was chapter 2. The next one will be for chapter 3. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a certain group of people. First, let me bring up the young child. Okay, let's bring up the young child. Let's find it. Da 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 da. Bethlehem. This Bethlehem. Bethlehem. Okay, young child. Let's see what is used here. Okay, Pidion. Let's see if that's how.
Strong's G 3813. Paideon.
Pidion.
Paideon.
Pidion. Okay. Anyway, so that's the word that was used for young child. Okay. Uh, child, little child, young child, damsel. Anyway, infants. Okay. Young child, toddler. They're still that big. Okay. You know what I'm getting at. They're about hip height still, or waist height still. Okay, just bringing that up because there's a certain group of people making. I came across a video actually, um, making the statement that Jesus grew up and studied everything about Egypt while he was in Egypt. He was going by the doctrines of the Egyptian teachings while he grew up in Egypt. He wasn't in Egypt that long. He was still a little kid when Joseph brought Mary and him back to Israel. He wasn't old enough to be indoctrinated and learn all the studies and philosophies of Egypt. And even if he was exposed to all of that stuff, that's not how he lived. He lived according to how his parents raised him, and his parents did not raise him to worship Egyptian ideology or to believe in the Egyptian philosophies or anything like that. Okay, it just says they were they were in Egypt. They were most likely well hidden in Egypt. They probably lived very quietly, very solitary lives as to not draw attention to themselves. Okay? Which is why the history of him growing up in Egypt was not even put in here because it was a quiet time. It was a time of being hidden. Okay? So if you do come across those videos, because I was almost fooled. I was like, yeah, that's right. He was raised in Egypt, so he might have a little bit of that Egypt philosophy in him going back to Israel. But then no, see, a lot of people don't really pay attention to the wording that they read it, they think they understand it. Like I thought until that video came up, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, he was raised in Egypt, wasn't he? And then he came back to Israel. Because that was my frame of thought, right? I was like, he was taken to Egypt, he was raised there, and then he was told his dad told him to bring him back. And then he shows up when he's 33 or in his 30s, and I'm like, so he must have been in Egypt that whole time. But then there's that whole instance where Mary and Joseph are searching all over the place for Jesus, and they found him at the synagogue, and he's still a young boy preaching in the synagogue. So that's what made me come back and reread. And it's so important to observe the words young child. He was still a babe. He was still a babe when it was taken to Egypt, and he was still a toddler when he was brought back to Israel. So no, he was not indoctrinated. He did not have the Egyptian philosophies. He did not uh, acknowledge the Egyptian gods. He knew about them, uh, and I'm pretty sure he was familiar with the customs, but he was way too young to even take that into consideration of even caring about those are the things I should be doing. No, he was still he was still a child. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, you might come across videos like that where they're trying to claim that Jesus went to school in Egypt. He learned Egyptian ways. He learned Egyptian traditions, and when he came back to Israel, he started using that philosophy in his preaching. No, he was well, he wasn't like this. He was like kind of like this when they left, but he was like this when they came back. Anyway, he could still be carried in mama's arms. Okay. Okay, we're gonna end it here. Chapter 3 is next. I'm not sure when I will be posting it. Again, I will leave the link for the Blue Letter Bible in the description. Again, if you guys want to do any Bible readings, Bible discussions off of YouTube, uh, feel free to message me in YouTube if you want a link to my Discord. I don't use it much, but it would be nice to start using it. Uh, and if I was wrong in any way with this reading today, may the Lord correct me and may He bless you and keep praying, people.